I was just patient, never try skating. Fuck niggas hating.
5 tips on how you can dismantle any woman's game whenever she's trying to finesse you. And this is going to be mainly for the good guys, the guys who are pure intention, they have righteous thinking, they are God-fearing men. And in the world where everything is based on deceit, everybody's lying, everybody has a representative that they want to lead with in order to gain favor and exploit the opposite sex. This is going to be for you. And this is game that I did not learn anywhere else. This is game that I actively use in my own life. It protects me. It keeps me no stress. It makes me single longer, but that's fine because I'd rather be single than dealing with a toxic situation or with a woman who is trying to exploit me for my provisions. And I'm only as good as the amount of money I make or how tall I am or what I can do for her and what she can get out of me and excess, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is going to be for the man who is a pure intention, God-fearing man, and also this is going to be against the women who come in the name of righteous, but really come in the name of righteousness, but really are ill intentioned. Okay, and what I mean is when you are a good man, you might pursue a woman that you perceive to be a good woman because the way she might carry herself and uphold herself, but there are women, modern women, that come in the name of righteousness. They tell you that they are traditional value women, and that they are they give you the illusion that they are trustworthy and that dependable and that they are worth your investment and your protection, your leadership, your provisions. You know, you being a provider, and they don't have intentions on following through with their end. It's a transaction. It's something they're trying to use you, but they know that you want to hear these things because they watch videos just like you do online. And there's videos of them, people telling them what men are looking for. And then we're doing videos like this ourselves that they can watch and see what men are looking for. And they're documenting stuff and saying, and they're adding it into their repertoire on how to manipulate and extort men and exploit men. So it's against the women who like to put on the front as if they're a good girl. This is not going to save you against the woman who came to you direct and honest as a promiscuous woman, as a prostitute, as a woman who was only interested in you paying to play. Okay, it will, but hopefully you know better than to approach that kind of woman anyway. Hopefully you have some kind of sexual discipline enough to avoid even entertaining a woman like that in hopes that she would be wifey material with you, but prostitute material with the next man. I don't even want to expound too far on that because that should be common sense. Without wasting any more of your time, let me break it down to you, brothers. I got 5 of them for you, all right? You might want to take a pen out because this is really how I really think and really how I go about it, and it really will help you, I promise. If you need this, if you like it, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe, okay? But check this out. Number one on guidelines. I was going to say rules, but, you know, it's only rules for me that I follow in my real life that I want to give to you. Never, under any circumstances, when you're vetting, courting, getting to know, talking to, meeting, trying to get her number, approaching, in the early stages of getting to know a woman, never be the one to bring up, initiate conversations about sex. Never do that. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit further. I'm gonna explain the psychology behind what I'm saying. Okay, modern women, they not only are they sponges, but they soak up limitless validation and reassurance and admiration and attention from men, right? The number one thing that I think a man can do wrong is to give his sexual attention or attraction to a woman and overly validate a woman. And the reason why I say that is because imagine this, a modern woman, when you bring up sex, when you make a sexual comment or a compliment or anything like that, or a reference, innuendo, anything you want, anything sexual, even if it's a little jokey doke where you're like, yeah, them lips or whatever it is you want to say. None, zero, don't do none of it. When you do that, it triggers her mind and it gives her an opportunity to proposition you. So you talking to a woman and then you make a sexual comment to her, or you online dating and you jump in her inbox and you say, you look edible, or I just want somebody to sit on my face or whatever. I've heard women tell me when a man does this, it triggers this woman and she says, got him. He's another one of those. He's a sucker. He's somebody that I can exploit. He's perfect because you are leading with sex. That shows her that weak man, got him. Weak man, yeah, that's you. And so what she does is she says, honey, I don't know how I'm gonna pay this bill, or she's going to proposition you for the exploitation. You set yourself up for that. Okay. And this is how it works. You know what I'm saying? As soon as she hears those trigger words, those sexual comments and all that, and compliments and stuff like that, she says to herself, weak man. And then she says to herself, this is when her brain starts thinking transactionally. Now, this is specifically going to work for a woman who is hiding that from you in order to exploit you. You don't know that she does this to other men. She wants to give you this good girl persona. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't mention sex at all, I'm talking about not just the first encounter, don't do it at all. Sex shouldn't be anything that you talk about anyway. It's something that you do. Okay? Don't talk about sex. My second key to this point is that when you don't talk about sex with a woman, she cannot proposition you. 1. 2, she doesn't think that you are a typical guy. So it kind of piques her interest. 3, it exposes if she has interpersonal skills beyond transactional conversations and behavior. Because if you never bring up sex, if this woman's motive was to exploit you, therefore she needed you to give her that leverage, which is that validation of that you are just like the rest of them. You are a weak man. Then if you don't give her that validation, she won't have any conversation for you. And you might feel like, what's wrong with me? Initially, because you don't think like that person. Not because you're insecure, but because you don't think like a ill-intentioned person. You don't know all the tactics that they try to put into their repertoire. So you're blindsided. You're like, she just answers my text messages once every 3 days. It's because there's another man who gave her that validation of knowing that he can be exploited very easily. And she said, okay, that's a good guy. He hasn't said anything yet. I like him still, but I need something. I'm looking to exploit somebody right now. She's not saying these words to herself, but a manipulative person is looking for someone that they can take advantage of. And by you not giving her that, what you will notice is that she's going to do one or two things. A, she's going to stick around longer because she knows, okay, he didn't say nothing the first time, but maybe the second and third and fourth conversation, he will start bringing up sex. If you never do it, what ends up happening is B, you're getting to know this woman. Because if you can have a dialogue back and forth with the woman that doesn't involve sex and then be entertained or stimulated emotionally or intellectually, that is how you get to know somebody. You naturally find other things to talk about. And it's by default. This isn't even, it's game, but it's something that you don't have to actively do. It's something that you need to actively not do. But what I'm saying is, leaving sex out of it, she can't proposition you and say, transaction. Let me tell him that I don't know how I'm going to pay this rent. Let me ask him for favors because I know what he wants. Let's cut straight to the chase. If you don't proposition her, then if she doesn't feel like she can use you, she's going to flee. And if she is genuinely interested in you and trying to get to know you, she's going to be happy that this isn't a weirdo. This isn't a guy who leads with sex. This isn't a guy who I know that he's jumping on in the inbox of another woman, This isn't a man who's taking anything that I give him and running and taking it to another woman. And I say that because I knew a man one time who would date strippers, and then the stripper would bring him his money. And then he would go to the strip club with money that his stripper gave him. And I used to be like, yo, you're putting the money back. But if a woman knows that you are weak to your sex, then she doesn't trust you. And this is why her respect level drops. And this is when her respect level drops. That's when she just says, you know what? I'm just going to use him. He's only good enough for what he can do for me at this point. If you never do that, she can't think about that you like that. She can't go back and say, oh, he thought he was slick and he tried to get in my pants and then he was a dog. You know what I'm saying? No, when you don't approach her, you disarm her ability to exploit you. And you also expose the fact that she might not genuinely be interested in getting to know you. And she might be just listening to see if you are one of these weak men. Because let's keep it real. I said this in a previous video. These women are looking for stupid kings. And that's a two-part word, right? Or it's two words, obviously. But stupid being lack intelligence, lack discipline, and then king has resources. You know, he's attractive. There's things about you that she'd like to exploit from you, but you're dumb. You don't make smart decisions. And that is not a leader. Leaders make smart decisions. So she'll say, I'm looking for a leader, but really what she means is she's looking for a man who has those provisions that she needs, but she needs him to be dumb. She needs him to provide without asking her any questions, without knowing her background, without knowing her intentions. And he just feels like because he's a man, he's supposed to be a provider. He meets a woman, and in order to take her out on a date, he has to get her nails done, hair done, buy her an outfit. And then she get to say, okay, thank you, hun, after that first date. And now she has a wardrobe in her closet. And she becomes more and more entitled as time go on. And every time you meet her or try to meet up with her, you have to there has to be a transaction. You are being exploited. And if you don't have anything to offer, like pay 100% for the date and buy her outfit and get her nails done, no. But if she wants to look good for the day and she knows getting her nails done is going to cost for the month, and getting her nails done is going to cost $200, and then every time you take her out, you got to get her nails done, you just saved her. You're paying her bills. Okay. But if you don't talk about sex, then she know that she can't proposition you to make a transaction, because that's the transaction of a modern dynamic between a man and a woman is man wants sex, woman wants your money and your provisions. So if you aren't the guy that's looking for sex and it's not obvious to this woman, she won't have any conversation for you if she's not interested in getting to know you. And if she is interested in getting to know you, the conversation will go longer. And another thing too, what you will notice, and then I'll move to the next point, because this is real stuff this is my own personal game. That's why I don't need to look down at my phone so often in this video, because I know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Another thing is that happens, I would go as far as say 100% of the time in my experience, when a man does not when I don't bring up sex to a woman, she does. She brings it up. Okay. Now, a woman who is looking to be transactional, she brings it up early. Okay. It'll be the first, second, and third conversation. And she'll act like as if she's impressed with the fact that you didn't bring up sex. But at the same time, she will bring it up because she needs to turn the conversation about that in order to be able to proposition you. If you like that comment already, please give me a like. Not comment. If you like that point already, please give me a comment, like, and subscribe. But I got 4 more for you. Okay. Number 2, collar popping game that I use in my real life. Never discuss money with around or in front of a woman that you don't know. Now, let me explain this, okay? Because this is something that a lot of men are going to say, yeah, I don't do that anyway. You know, that's part of my repertoire. That's my game. That's my trick. Okay, this is game, but this isn't manipulation. Okay, this exposes and dismantles a woman's game against you, because, again, you got to imagine this modern woman as somebody who is using her ears. Yeah, she's using her eyes, too. Her eyes are looking you up and down and scanning. Okay, he got the Jordans and they're clean. They look like he just bought them and they cost about $300. Okay, he got the Nike shirt. He got the gold chain. Okay, he got a fresh lineup. Okay, his fingernails are clean. Everything's been checked off in this woman's mind while you're talking. She's halfway listening to you while you're talking. Because everything else, she's pocket watching, she's dialing you up. It's like RoboCop, when he would see somebody and then the screen would say low life thug, honest woman, and it would describe the person he's looking at. That's the same thing that's going on in the modern woman. Okay, brokey, ooh, baller, stupid king. Okay, when she sees you, when you cross her path. Okay, so when you avoid discussing money, and let me be clear what I mean by not discussing money. That means you don't tell her how much you make. That means you don't make innuendos, comments, indirect comments, anything about how much, yeah, man, I got this good job. Nope. You're talking about money. You don't tell her, yeah, I just bought my house. Nope. You don't tell her anything that gives her any kind of information on what kind of assets you have, what you could potentially be exploited for, what kind of provisions you have that you can eventually give her. No, of course, if you like to look good, you're going to be wearing designer, you're going to be wearing jewelry, you're going to be fresh. She's going to use that information right there. But and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Because, you can trick a woman if you showed up wearing Dolce and Gabbana, and then she might think that that's her problem. She played herself. If it's knockoff and if that's not really your lifestyle, but that's what you wore to the date, that's her problem. If she is looking for a man and she's looking for that dollar sign, and you show up wearing Gucci and Louis Vuitton and she thinks got one, and then you never mention money and you never discuss any of that, that's going to expose the woman again. Let me go further because I want to make sure that we clear on this point as well. Okay. Never say anything regarding any money whatsoever. I made that mistake recently when I told a woman at a date, you know what I'm saying? She thought I made a reference that, she thought I meant I couldn't pay for the date because I said I didn't expect for the date to end up at the restaurant we were at. And she grabbed the machine and she paid her half of the date. And I said, what are you doing? You wanted to go 50-50. And then she was like, well, you kept saying how you didn't expect to be here. But she exposed herself as somebody who was definitely listening to my pockets. Okay. Pockets is something that you got to watch. But this woman was listening for my pockets because a man who is a stupid king, who has a lot of resources and provisions that she can exploit, he's not going to even make any kind of a comment about how much a bill costs or what he can and can't afford, and he's going to splurge. There's going to be money falling out of his pocket, so to speak. He's going to be like, yeah, let me get this. On top of that, he's going to be ordering up everything on the menu, and he's just going to be spending money a certain kind of way, and then she's going to be pocket watching. She's going to be like, got me one. So by you not talking about money whatsoever, again, this eliminates her ability to proposition you for that transaction she's looking to make. Okay. And then she's going to do one or two things. She's going to stick around long enough to see what you do own, or she's going to probably be the woman that says, so where do you live? Do you live by yourself? Do you live in a house? Or she's going to try to indirectly ask you questions where she says, yeah, I'm trying to buy a house by next March and stuff like that, to see if you say, yeah, I own my own house. But when you listen to this woman, how she talks, and you avoid talking about money, but oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I know a little program you can go through, you know what I'm saying? And then she might ask you, oh, where'd you buy your house from? She might be a crafty woman who starts asking you questions. But if you got to be crafty enough and be like, I don't like to disclose that kind of information. You want to know where I live? Yeah, I live by myself. I live by myself. Oh, okay. House? Man, I don't know you that much. Yeah, you could be a creep. That's just like these women are saying that they're giving out fake phone numbers, they're giving out fake names, and they're giving out fake birth dates in case you could be a creep. You could run my name through some software and find out where I live. Why would you want to tell a woman anything about you? Because trust me, modern women are doing background checks and running names just like the creeps that they claim to avoid. Do not discuss your money with the woman. Do not allow your money to be the reason why this woman is pursuing you. Okay, that is how you get used. That is how you dismantle, by not mentioning money, is how you dismantle her game. A modern woman's game. A woman who comes in the name of righteousness but really has ill intentions. Okay, she is going to gauge and learn, she's either going to stick around to find out what you got and assume that you ain't got nothing. Because you didn't talk about money, she's going to assume you ain't got none. And she's going to walk away. Okay? That's what not mentioning money does for you. Next, number 3, collar popping game that I got for you that I actually use in my real life is you want to develop a script that you use when talking to women. And it's cliche and lame as it might sound, I'm like a nerdy guy. I'm a very tech savvy guy. And I used to do customer service work where I had to read scripts to customers and stuff. And one thing that I would tell you that I mean by saying this, excuse me, is that when you develop a script on how you approach women, what happens is what comes along with a script is what they call rebuttals. If you're reading a script to a customer and then they disagree at a certain part in the script, you click this button on the computer screen that gives you a response that would bring them back in, that will regain their attention. So I, in my real life, have questions that I ask each and every single woman, and I don't deviate. I don't reinvent my wheel. I ask every woman the same set of questions in the same order. Okay. And I'm not going to say what it is in this video because it would drag this video on too long. I will do it though. I have no problem. I will do a video on it. And you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's going to be, that popular of one because you probably don't need that information. But, hey, how you doing? The initial, greeting, or, hey, my name is Jerome. How you doing? And what happens is you, over time, with having a script that's attached to rebuttals in case she responds differently later along down the line, you are able to gauge and learn speech patterns of women. So over time, you start seeing, okay, good women respond like this. Users or potential women who are trying to potentially exploit me respond like this, or don't respond at all when you ask them the same questions. So as an example, a woman who is just exploitative and who's trying to casually date you, but comes in the name of righteousness, acts like she's looking for marriage, acts like she's looking for a husband or a genuine connection, and she's really trying to date intentionally. If you ask her, hey, how you doing? She might be the type of woman that says, I'm doing good. And then that's it. You'll get one word responses. So where you from? I'm from Chicago. And then versus a woman who is more interested in you might say, I'm from Chicago. How about yourself? You know what I'm saying? So we'll ask you a question and you learn by talking to lots of women. When you have a script developed, you say, okay, women who are showing me interest, they typically ask me a question back. And it makes it more of a fun experimental game when you're talking to a woman versus it being something that is scary. And you fearing rejection. And then it even makes rejection even more of a sport, to be honest with you, because when a woman stops responding to you, that's a form of rejection. You just move on. Or when a woman doesn't want to answer your question, she exposes herself that's not even what her intentions are. You asking me questions that are not aligned with what I'm looking for. I'm expecting you to say something sexual so I can proposition you. I'm expecting you to leave with your money so I can proposition you. You didn't do that. I'm not interested. You just dismantled her game. And, some women make it all the way down the list because they have perfected how to answer the question right. They've heard those questions before. They've run into men who are good, but it's just like some homosexual men who get a thrill out of turning straight men gay, or a transsexual person who gets a thrill out of turning straight men gay. Well, there are women who get the thrill out of turning good guys into tricks. So you being a good guy is all as vulnerable, and it's shown perceived as weakness, and somebody who's gullible, and somebody that she could potentially exploit. So when you have these questions in this script that you've developed, you'll notice that some women can make it all the way down your list and answer every single one of your questions right, but still be ill-intentioned. But you find out once you, let's say you met them online dating and they answer all your questions right. So I probably have 5 questions. I'm gonna try to run it off quick so I don't have to make a whole nother video about it. I'll ask a woman, how you doing? All right, where you from? All right, if she's been living in my city and state long. You got any little people, if she has any kids. And then I explained that I have kids myself. And then another question would be like, so you casually dating, what's your intentions? I want to know what a woman's intentions are. And now this is like a loose version of my script, right? Because like I said, I have rebuttals. If the conversation veers off in a positive and or negative way to where maybe she starts asking me questions, I'm able to ask her questions, but then I go right back to my script. Okay. And let's say about 4 or 5 questions down my script, if I'm online dating, I'll say something like, I'd like to move this conversation offline and to over the phone and doing dates if you're interested. And then this is one of the things that I get a woman that says, I'm definitely interested, and blast me the number. Or I'll get a woman that says, can we get to know each other longer on here? I know she's capped. Or she'll say something like, um, I don't even really know you. That's cap. Because if you don't really know me and you ain't attempting to get to know me, then you're not even interested in getting to know me. Just keep it factual here. Okay. But my point being, to sum it up, so I can move on to the next point, is that my first question would be something like, hey, how you doing? And my last question within 5 questions would be, I'd like to move this conversation off the app to over the phone and doing dates if you're interested. So, and I have rebuttal set up to where if she responds differently, the conversation can veer, but I try to make it quick and get off the app and get that phone number. And then that will be when I get to seeing if a woman gave me her fake name and fake number, them text app numbers, because I got a whole nother video. Okay. I got a video on my channel where I talk about why she gives you the fake phone number when dating, in the early stages of dating. Okay. So, basically there's never a dull conversation. When you have a script already ready, you already know how to ask certain questions. You have certain go-to questions that you ask, and they've worked. You've asked them so many times that when you ask a woman and she's like, I like your questions. I like when you, and there's going to be women that hate your questions. Those women don't want to answer questions because they don't want to get to know you. To them, that's a waste of time. They want to get to that instant gratification. Talk to me about sex so that I can say, take me on a trip, and I can use you for a trip, and I can use you for your resources, and I can tell you to take me shopping. And it's that. If you're not talking about cash, that's why you see these little videos and women be like, the man approaches a woman on the street and she got a booty hanging out her pants, and then she be like, what's up? What's up? It's like she in a rush. She needs you to say, let me take you shopping. She needs you to say, I'm a millionaire guy and I'm looking for a wife. She needs you to say something that she can use right now. And if you don't talk about your money, and if you have a script that's set up, you're going to be able to fish through and dismantle any woman's potential game if she's not genuinely here to get to know you. Okay. So number 4, I would say that I really use collar popping game is you want to document flags. Notice that I did not say red flags. Red flags, we address those. When you see a red flag in a woman, you say, I noticed this. What's going on? But a flag is a flag with no color. And I call it a flag with no color because it might have triggered you or struck some kind of your discernment, your ability to be a wise, a judgment of character, have wise judgment of a person's character. Might say something that makes sense to me about that. But also, us men, we can grow accustomed to being used in modern dating, or a woman trying to finesse us. So we might develop somewhat of a trust issue. Let's be real, right? I'm no different. So my ears are always listening for things that a woman is saying that expose her true intentions to me. This can come off insecure if you are addressing each and every single thing that doesn't sound right. So there are certain things that are flags that you need more context to, that might just end up being insignificant or not even a factor, or, oh, thank God I didn't prejudge that woman based off of that. But red flags, obvious red flags, you should avoid dating a woman who has obvious red flags. But those things that you're like, because you're a little bit skeptical, it's just a flag. There's no color to it. You want to document them. You want to write a note in your phone, under her contact, wherever you do it, mental notes, but you want to document it. Okay, I'm stressing document it so that you don't forget. And by documenting things, once you gain clarity and it keeps it fresh in the front of your mind when getting to know this person, once you get clarity to it, you let it go. And you never had to bring it up. You never sounded insecure, and it can be perceived as judgmental if you brung it up earlier on. So you want to avoid bringing up flags. Red flags, yes. Flags in general, no. Okay, just document them. And once they, get answered, once you get that answer in your brain you was looking for, then you can just let it go. And it works every time. And and you protect yourself, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like you don't sound like some dude with trust issues, and that you're taking out what somebody else did on you on this woman, and it's just a much better way to approach flags. Okay, and then you get it keeps your mind alert on, let me listen, because I need something else, I need more context to this. And then you might start asking questions regarding those flags. So you said you was from here and there and whoop de whoop, and you said you did this, whatever the situation is. You later on gain context to it, and then you like, okay, cool. If later on the context exposes that it was actually a red flag and and should have been a concern, well, look what you just did. You prevented entertaining somebody that you shouldn't have. You dismantled her game, and you maintained your not persona, but your integrity, your and you provided her with the opportunity to be herself and not feel judged, which is a good thing in the early stages. You don't want a woman to feel judged by you. She's going to get intimidated. She's going to feel like you got trust issues, you're insecure, she's going to run off. So we don't address flags. For red flags, I don't even really address red flags. In closing, so I can move to the next point. A red flag that I know ain't gonna work for me, I'm not gonna try to change this woman. I'm just gonna make my exit. Red flag, I know I ain't dealing with it. That's a non-negotiable. Okay. So number 5, and I consider this one a bonus tip. Okay. Never allow how attractive a woman is to lower your standards, and never allow how attractive a woman is to make you think that, to overlook red flags or to not, stand your ground. Excuse me. Because and this is, like I said, this is things I use in my real life, because a couple of videos ago, when I told the story about a woman that I went on a date to Applebee's, that woman was extremely attractive. I have to articulate this to you, you know what I'm saying? Not trying to waste any of your time, but this woman didn't have any makeup on. This woman didn't have any eyelashes. She didn't have any weave in her hair, and she was a dime. So if she did have those extensions and those that extra stuff on, she would look better. But how she looked without any of that stuff was 10. Oh my God. Okay. So even that being said, when she grabbed the machine at the table and paid her half of the bill because she thought I implied that I couldn't afford Applebee's, I lost interest. I wasn't interested in talking to that woman ever again. Because we have to understand, women who come in the name of righteousness, women who are Jezebel spirited, women who have the ability to manipulate us, who we need to protect ourselves against, are the best looking women. We can't allow how a woman looks to be the reason why we pursued her. There's a caveat to it. I like attractive women. Okay? I'm sure you do too. So it plays a role in attractiveness. Okay? I know me. I can't be with them ugly duckling just because she a good woman, because then I'm going to always be unfulfilled and want something else. So yes, but don't allow her attraction or her appearance be an excuse to overlook red flags. And this protects us, man. Because you don't end up with a Beyonce lookalike, but she's really here to set you up, exploit you, rob you, send you to jail, put you on child support, never let you see the kid. You know the drill. Okay? You don't want to end up with that kind of woman. You cannot allow her looks. And in closing on that, that was that story of my ex-girlfriend. Her looks, when I saw her, I lost my breath. Come on now. If you're a hopeless romantic, man, you know what I'm saying. If you a P and all that stuff, you like, oh man, you sound like a lame. Hey, I don't care. Call me what you want. But I'll tell you, when I saw my ex, I lost my breath. I was like, oh, dang, she looks so good. And she ended up being the worst woman I ever dated in my life. And that is no cap. But I tolerated her stuff because I thought she just looked so good. And I got my feelings hurt. So the times when we do still get manipulated, it's our fault. Take accountability. We let our guard down. We ignored red flags. We did something that we knew we shouldn't do. These 5 pointers right here will help you to avoid and dismantle any woman's game. And and I'm almost done, but there's something else that just popping in my mind for the need to say. There are certain things that I've seen in women that are fake or phony, that come in the name of righteousness but have ill intentions. I'll say about 2 or 3 things. One thing for sure is they are impulsive. Look out for this, because an impulsive woman, like the woman, she grabbed the machine on the the table at the restaurant. She didn't even try to ask me for clarity on what I meant, because then if she would have done that, then she would have known that what she heard wasn't what it was. But no, she impulsively did that, thus tearing her own mask down, revealing herself to me, and I lost interest. If she would have not been impulsive, that would have implied that she had a little bit more emotional control or intelligence. She would have been it would have implied that she was emotionally intelligent. And it would have showed that she had genuine interest on getting to know me and my intentions, for her to even ask questions to gain an understanding on where I'm coming from and my way of thinking. She wasn't interested on that, or in that. She was interested in, he's saying anything regarding paying for the bill. I'm not interested. And missed out on the good guy. And I dodged the bullet too, so I'm not that mad about it. But impulsivity, if that's a word, is what exposes people who don't have good intentions. They are impulsive, and they have to once that mask slip, because that's, if I was to say what makes someone's mask slip, is their impulse, when they act on impulse. And impulsiveness is when you act without thinking. And acting without thinking is normally what impatient people do. And impatience implies that she wants something instantly. Okay, I can circle that all the way around. Okay. And so I had another thing I was going to mention, but it slipped my mind because I maybe it wasn't that important. But look for impulsive people. People who, even how they deal with other people, if they just fly off the handle quick, they don't take the time to think about stuff. This is a toxic individual. This is somebody who is not emotionally intelligent. They're unhinged. They're unregulated emotionally, and they're not really reliable emotionally. They're not really emotionally intelligent. Okay. And that's a clear sign that this person doesn't really have, pure intentions or even balance in their life, and somebody that's going to just come to give you a headache and heartache. Okay, I hope this helps you out. I hope this gains some clarity for how to dismantle anybody's game. If you liked it, if you thought it was helpful or useful, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jerome, and this has been another episode of the Superb Word. All right, until next time, 2 fingers, y'all. All right, go on.